So, good morning on day 3. So a little bit about yesterday. I found yesterday that after my blog yesterday where I was talking about portioning, rationing my food, I decided to have a little actual serious think about this and sit down with what I had bought. And I discovered, to my horror, that I don't really have enough for 3 meals a day. Now, I bought the cheapest of the cheap things. I don't think I could have gone any cheaper. Yeah, I bought 2 big bags of pulses that I've yet to eat, so they'll probably continue into next week. So maybe that was an unwise buy. Maybe I should have only bought 1, and that would have given me a bit of extra cash. So yeah, lesson learned. However, I had to make a decision yesterday, so I decided I would skip lunch in order that I would have enough food, and I'm going to have to make the same decision again today. And then that'll ration out food properly. I'm actually eating my breakfast as we speak. Yeah, so that wasn't very nice. It's not a very nice feeling to have to skip meals and actually have to. I'm not skipping it because I feel like I've eaten too much or I'm feeling like a little mini detox. I'm skipping it because I haven't got any food to eat. It's a completely different thing. Yeah, so I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of someone who has to do that regularly. And maybe you have to do it if you have dependents, children, stuff. I mean, that's utterly demoralising. It makes you feel incredibly vulnerable. It's a terrible thing. Terrible how to expect anyone to survive on such a pittance long term. I suppose one could argue that it's not supposed to be long term, is it? Benefit system, or it's supposed to be a quick fix, or not a quick fix, but a patch until such times as you get other employment. But it doesn't often work out that way, doesn't it? I mean, we don't live in a society where jobs are readily available. There's also the trap. You're trapped in benefit system. I mean, I speak from my own experience of being a kid. We lived on benefits. You're trapped within it because when you're on benefits, you get a pittance, maybe a bit more, depends if you've got dependents or you're disabled or whatever. You have different levels, different categories. I wouldn't pretend to know the ins and outs of all of that. But you have your rent paid. The minute you start working, even if you're earning minimum wage, working part-time, you're expected to pay your rent. Now, there has to be some sort of in-between because you're trapped in a cycle. You're actually better off on benefits. You're better off not working and living on nothing than you would be working in a really basic job, all the hours that God sends, if you're living in a normal flat, because even on minimum wage, working full time, you're still going to be living as badly as this. That's just not right, is it? So what's the answer to that? The only answer is that people get paid accordingly to the job they do. People get more money. The wage is higher. The wage has to be higher. People have to pay more for people to work, and then there's more of an incentive to go back to work. Who wants to work? I mean, really be honest, who wants to work from 9 to 5, maybe even longer in some jobs, if you're working, I don't know, packing chickens in a factory or something, horrendous hours, horrible conditions. Who wants to work that, 5 days a week and still be earning and still be living on nothing? I mean, it's demoralising. Yes, there's a sense of self-worth because you're earning your own money. There is that often people forget that people that are on benefits don't actually enjoy being on benefits. It's quite a demoralising process. I suppose it's better now that it gets paid directly into your bank account. You used to have to queue up with a book at the post office and have it stamped and then your money doled out to you. There's something very, oh God, that's only just occurred to me. Maybe is that why it's called the dole? Because the money is doled out to you. Anyway, yeah, it's quite a demoralising process. I suppose it depends on the area you live. It could be quite the norm in certain areas, but it's still, it's like, there's your money, hand over your voucher. It's dehumanising. So anyway, today is going to be, pardon me, today is going to be quite similar. I'm going to have to scrap 1 meal, and that'll have to be lunch because it's easier than dinner. I mean, the evening is endless without food. What else? Yeah, I spent the last of my money, and I didn't spend it on fried Mars bars like I promised. I spent it on a butternut squash and some tins of sardines, in order that I can, and then with that, skipping 2 meals, I can get through the week. I don't know what I'm going to do next week actually. Maybe I'm going to have to start resorting to bulk foods, you know, pasta. I mean, rice is far too expensive. You can't live on rice. Rice is very expensive these days. Yeah, pasta, I suppose. Big bag of pasta. But then, what's nice about just eating a big bag of pasta? You know, nothing on it. You have to think of like a sauce or some kind, and that costs money. Had a conversation with a friend. Pardon me. I had a conversation with a friend yesterday, and she I mean, everything she suggested, I was like, well, I can't afford it, clearly. And it shows you that there's a disconnect between what we all think of as just normal things. Well, just have that, you know, just put some spices in it, just put some pepper in it. Why don't you have that? It was like, I was talking about salt, and she said to me, why are you not just using salt? Why didn't you just buy some cheap table salt? She said table salt, the really cheap one, was about 40 pence. I was like, yeah, but that packet of salt is the difference between a packet of salt and another tin of tinned fish for about 40 pence, which is another meal. So you really have to make those kind of decisions, which I'm not used to making, but it's a real eye-opener to have to think like that. Hot water, yum. But I think, what was I going to say? My brain is actually slowing down a little bit, and I know that sounds terribly dramatic, and maybe it is very melodramatic. I've only been on this 2 days, but I'm used to more food than this. I'm used to more calories. I woke up today like I had a horrific hangover, partly because I'm coming off caffeine and sugar. I've been baking, like, I don't know, some sort of gay Mary Berry, baking up the whole house for weeks, 2 weeks or something since I've been home, and I've been away working. I had a wonderful time when I was working in Germany, living with a friend, and we had lots of parties and cooked lots of lovely food. So I mean, I am thoroughly addicted to sugar at the moment, and refined carbs really. I've been baking bread. I mean, I bake quite a lot of bread. That's another thing. Remind me. Well, you can't remind me, this is the blog. Baking bread. I will remind, baking bread. But so I'm thoroughly addicted to caffeine, sugar. I've been partying quite a lot with quite a lot of alcohol. It's probably got an addictive quality to it. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm an alcoholic. I'm not addicted to alcohol, but you know, consuming a couple of bottles a week. I mean, you're going to miss it in some way. There's a social aspect to it that you're going to miss. It must have some sort of physical aspect. It must have some sort of physical reaction to your body. It has to. You know, your body is used to getting it. So I feel like someone's hit me in the face with a frying pan. One, I feel like I have a cold. But not a real cold. I just feel stuffy and clogged up and foggy. You know, your typical detox things. Now this isn't a detox I'm on. This is just living with no money. So maybe next week will be easier once I've beaten a couple of those addictions. Maybe it won't be quite as arduous, but today it feels dreadful. I could barely get out of bed. I feel sore, lacking energy. My thought processes are very slow. I was, you know, was just pottering around forever in the bathroom trying to work out why the toothbrush wouldn't work. And it just needs charged, but it took me a long time to work that one out, longer than normal, you know, so that's just slowed down brain. Yeah, tomorrow I have to sing. My job, everyone that's watching this knows I'm a singer because it's really only my friends that are watching it. Maybe there's a couple of others. I'm a singer by profession. And tomorrow I have to sing. So I've been singing every day, and I've been finding that I've had enough energy to sing. Singing is quite a physical thing. But yeah, I mean, it'll be a test tomorrow because I have to actually think, God, I'm going to have to pace myself energy-wise throughout the day. In a sense, I'm probably going to have a nap before I sing, because that's the only way I'm going to have enough energy. If I'm awake the whole time and not eating very much, I'll be weak. The voice will be weak, and my brain, I'll feel slightly spaced out, which is not a nice feeling when you're performing. Yeah, and on another point, I mean, if I feel like this, living on such a frugal amount of money, and this is on my job seeker's allowance, I am seeking a job in this money, the government thinks. I've got no energy to do bugger all, to be honest. You know, I mean, literally all I want to do is lie in front of the sofa today. I've got nothing to eat. I'm just going to lie there because my head is thumping. I'm just fed up. I'm bored. I'm fed up. You know, I want something nice to look forward to. I don't have to eat continuously through the day, but it'd be nice to have a nice meal. I mean, quite often my days I don't eat much through the day. I'll have breakfast, I probably don't have much for lunch, and then I'll cook a nice dinner for my partner and I, or some friends in the evening, and I'll spend most of the day, after I've done my work, preparing that dinner. I enjoy that. It's like a housewife. It's like I play at house when I'm home. I really enjoy cooking for people and socialising, and not to have that, I'm completely bereft without it. You know, I've got nothing really to look forward to. The evening is just sort of, you know, another bit of fish and a vegetable, and then I want to go to bed. Because one, I'm tired and there's no food to eat. And I know the longer I stay awake, the more likely I am to want more food, so I just have a big glass of water and go to bed. Nice. It's a nice life. Yeah, I was talking about baking bread. I bake quite a lot of bread. And I had thought, some people have said to me, maybe you should make a loaf. The fact is, it's the initial outlay that's the problem. I can't really afford a packet of yeast. Can't really afford proper bread flour. I mean, I could probably make some sort of flatbread out of plain flour, cheap plain flour, and some bicarbonate of soda or something like that. I don't know, like a soda bread. Or, you know, you can make your own starter from breads. You know, a bit of water, and some cheap flour. Leave it in the fridge for a bit and it'll ferment eventually, but it doesn't. You know, it's never going to be quite satisfactory, and frankly, who's got the time for that? You know, really, because it's going to take a long time to have a loaf of bread. Bread does take time, of course, but at least when I make my bread normally, it takes time. Like I make a sourdough, at least I know at the other end of it's going to be a nice product. This one is going to be compromised from the beginning, so it could be hideous, like a big brick that's taken 2 days to make and taken quite a large percentage of my money. So I can see why you'd be better just going to farm foods and buying a cheap, you know, sort of pan loaf, really, which is depressing. I mean, it is no wonder that people on lower incomes tend to be, they're not all, but tend to be, their diet is unhealthy. You know, I'm trying my best to be healthier in this, and it's breaking me. I can see why it is unhealthy. And most of the food that's cheap and filling is going to be cheaper. Again, this isn't a revelation, I'm just speaking about my own experience of it from doing it now. You know, I was in a supermarket yesterday. I could have bought myself a pizza. There was Iceland next door. There was an Iceland, it's a deep freeze sort of supermarket next door. I could have gone in there and bought like a pizza for £1. I had like £3. I could have bought 3 pizzas. Yep, easy peasy. You know, and that's okay now and again. But you can't live like that. Well, you shouldn't live like that, and a lot of people do because it's filling. There's a lot of it. It tastes quite nice. I mean, it tastes nice. Who doesn't like a nice pizza? They're mass-produced, but they're just terribly, you know, bad carbs, crappy food, leads to fatness, leads to ill health, leads to diabetes eventually. I mean, you know, everything bad, and actually it just gives you nothing good. You feel crap about yourself if you're living too much rubbish food. Yeah, it gives you a momentary sort of high, but there's a trough at the other end of it. It's peaks and troughs the whole time, and then you begin to feel a bit uncomfortable, a bit fat, a bit sluggish, lacking in energy, so then you eat more pizza in order to compensate, and then so I think what I'm really getting at is here, I think it's actually practically impossible to live healthily on that amount of money, unless you are willing to eat like a sparrow, which, yeah, I'm hoping by the end of week 2 I'm okay. As for weight loss, I spoke yesterday about weight loss. I have lost a bit again. I've lost 2 pounds since yesterday, so that's 6 pounds over 2 days. I'm only on day 3. It's slowed down though, it's halved from the day before, so I think again tomorrow it might only be £1 or nothing. So I think it's just generally excess water. You retain water in your body quite a lot, and quite often when you diet you'll get rid of that quickly. So I'm hoping it's just that. It's certainly not body fat. I don't feel any thinner. I feel empty, but I don't feel thin. Yeah, so there we go. That's it. Thoughts for the day. Roll on my glass of water for lunch. Tomorrow I probably won't blog because I have to work, so I've got stuff to do, so I might do something in the morning, but it might be nice to have a break from it, eh? Yeah, so see you Friday. Beautiful Friday, let's see what that brings. Bye.